Hello Internet! Kulthos here, and it's time for another episode of ShoutStone. I am bringing you a shoutcast from the Hearthstone beta, featuring Day 9. So without any further ado, let's get into the action right now. It is Thrall versus Malfurion. Day 9, playing the part of Thrall, the Shaman, and Kulthos, playing the part of Malfurion, the Druid. So a little bit of Shaman versus Druid action to get this Thursday game kicked off. It's been a long, busy week, and my schedule for life and for work has changed radically, and trying to work in times to record these games is more and more difficult each time, but making it happen. Definitely making it happen. So, if you are watching and this is your first game with a Shaman deck, or watching a Shaman deck, then you're in for some interesting stuff. I don't know if I'm very good at playing Shaman decks necessarily, but I do kind of enjoy the mechanics of it. One of the key mechanics of Shaman decks is called Overload. And basically what it does is you can play cards for significantly cheaper up front than you'd think. Like, the cost is way less than what it should be. But Overload basically means you're borrowing mana on a future turn. So it can be pretty useful. So a Hungry Crab out to start things off, which usually works a little bit better in conjunction with things like, with Murloc decks, playing a Murloc out there first, then followed up with a Hungry Crab to buff it up. But still, it's a decent one-turn move. I'm gonna follow that up with the Acidic Swamp Ooze. And he is looking at a couple... He does have Forked Lightning right now, which he could potentially play to clear the field. But that would lock down some mana into Overload. And he also has the Feral Spirit card, which is a very potent little card there. But it looks like he's gonna pop another Totem and clear the field out. So as you can see now, in the lower right-hand corner where Day 9's mana is, 2 of his mana will be locked on the next turn, so they've been kind of blocked out in advance. So he's only going to have a 2-mana turn on this next go. Alright, so he takes out the Stone Claw Totem with his hero power. Day 9 pops another totem, Healing Totem this time, and passes the turn. So next turn, he'll have a full 5-mana turn to go in. But our Druid player is going to play a Shattered Sun Cleric, buff up that Taunt minion just a little bit, and help clear the field a bit. So now, full drop, he's got all the options that he wants. He can start getting some interesting cards out on the field. But he is going to need something to start putting some offense together, or at least hold back what he's got there. Feral Spirit is a nice option. It's a 3-drop card that produces 2/2/3 minions with Taunt. And it can be very useful. He's going to play another Totem. It's just going to be a 1/1 Searing Totem. And he is going to play Feral Spirit. So here come the Wolves. Locks down a couple points into Overload. I think we're looking pretty good. So, on this turn, he can take out one, but he can't take out both unless he burns his hero power as well. And of course, it depends on what kind of spells or options are available in his hand. As far as how Day 9 can respond from here, well, of course, it really depends entirely on how our Druid player plays this turn. But he does have a bunch of options for removal. I mean, he has Lightning Storm, which is a nice little 3-drop removal spell. He also has that Earth Elemental, which can be a very potent 5-drop minion. Or he can play the Azure Drake and get out of Overload for a bit. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. He can't play either of those cards this next turn because he's going to have 2 mana into Overload. Alright, gonna play Swipe to clear the field, drop the coin, or at least clear most of the field. And he's gonna play Wrath to clear that minion, get a card draw, I'm sure. Oh no, I'm sorry, he had to play it with the full damage because it was only at 2 health. So, either way, he's starting to inflict damage on day 9. He's cleared the field down to just that healing totem, which will be back up to 2 health on this next turn. But we're at a spot where minions need to come out there. The field needs to be taken care of. Things need to happen, basically, at this point. It's a tricky turn that we're looking at. He does have that Unbound Elemental. The Defender of Argus probably wouldn't want to play that now. He could also play Lightning Storm, which could likely clear the field, but he does still risk that it only does 2 damage to that Shattered Sun Cleric instead. But we are at a point where he does need to start clearing some minions out here. Get something a little more consistent on the field. Another Searing Totem. He's going to drop that Flame Tongue right in between them. And I'll sacrifice the Healing Totem to clear the minions. So, going to get some extra card options by playing Nourish. And the Flame Tongue Totem is out of action now. Alright, so we're back up to a full 7-drop turn here. Now he can play again everything that he has as far as options go. He's not in a very dangerous spot right now. He could very easily take out that Shattered Sun Cleric with Lightning Bolt, and then play anything else that he really wants to. The Earth Elemental would certainly make a strong minion to get out on the field, but he's going to play the Unbound Elemental instead, follow it up with a Mana Tide Totem, play Lightning Bolt, because he knows that that's going to trigger Overload, which will buff up that Unbound Elemental. And he gets Hex. That's going to be a great card for this next turn, because we're starting to get into the 7-drop point where some dangerous things can happen. You know, from this point on, we could be looking at some pretty dangerous minions, some pretty large-scale minions that could be inflicting some serious pain. Instead, he's going to play Starfire on that Unbound Elemental, which will allow him to draw a card, and that's it. Turn is passed. So now he has the Fire Elemental as an option. And he is still able to sit on Hex for a while, but he could play the Earth Elemental instead. Some pretty good strong options here. He is going to burn that 1 damage on the Druid player. And play the Earth Elemental. So that has a Taunt and a 3-mana Overload, but it is extremely potent. And he will pull out a Stoneclaw Totem, so he's got a couple double Taunt out there, which will be useful as the Druid player tries to come up with a way to contend against that Earth Elemental, excuse me. I'm going to play Wrath to clear the Mana Totem, Mana Tide Totem. Wow. Now it's decision time. I mean, obviously the Earth Elemental is the most potent thing on the field right now. That Sunwalker could be an ideal Hex target. And he's kind of weighing his options, because it is a good Hex target, but we're also getting into the later game, and there could be much more potent things happening. So he's going to sacrifice the Searing Totem to clear it, drop his minion to clear that minion from the field, and it passes the turn with the Azure Drake out there. So okay, so he holds on to Hex for now, which could be a smart move. You know, it's a very tempting target to get something like that. Gonna play Swipe, which will take out the Earth Elemental, and he's gonna follow it up with a Sen'jin Shieldmaster. So, the Shieldmaster can still be taken out by a few different options here. I don't think he wants to use Lava Burst quite yet, especially not on the Shieldmaster, I don't think. We'll have to see. He's going to play another Azure Drake, it looks like. Yeah, that's indeed the case. And he will get a Lightning Bolt, which he could use instead to clear him. And that's precisely what's going to happen. Big Lightning Bolt. Shieldmaster is down. Now he could play Lava Burst if he wanted to. And no, instead he's going to pop another totem. It's going to be a Searing Totem. Does have that Stormforged Axe, which he could equip. And that's what he will do. Start inflicting some pain. And make this game pretty even again. Now, we are looking at a pretty even situation in terms of cards. A heavy minion advantage in favor of Day 9 right now. So this game is definitely in Day 9's favor at this point. He is still sitting on that Hex, which could make the next move pretty valuable. I'm going to take out that totem. Plays the Druid of the Claw. Sacrifices it, plays an Acidic Swamp Ooze to get rid of the weapon. So some pretty good responses there by our Druid player to keep the field clear and get rid of some of those dangerous minions and help mitigate the incoming damage threat. So I think right now it's a little tricky. I mean, I don't know if he wants to sacrifice that Azure Drake just to clear the Acidic Swamp Ooze. I mean, he certainly probably want to follow that up with or start this turn with any kind of spells that he wants to deliver. Could play a Fire Elemental and clear that minion off the field instead, get a powerful minion on the field first. It looks like that is what he's going to do. Follow it up with another totem, and it will be a Wrath of Air totem. And get a few more points of damage in on his opponent before passing the turn. So, still looking pretty good. Still has that Weapon of Hex. I want a Starfire, another Starfire to clear the field. That's the last of those Starfires, so we won't have to worry about that because this is a constructed game. And he's going to burn Healing Touch. So, there's a lot of good removal spell options sitting in Day 9's deck right now. And he also is sitting on +2 mana, or +2 spell damage. So, I'm going to play a Mana Tide Totem, follow up the Defender of Argus in between the Azure Drake and that Searing Totem to buff those guys up, provide a couple more taunt minions, and everything gets nicely healed once again by that Healing Totem. So, there's a significant number of minions out there, but they're mostly totems. He's going to play that Silence on the Mana Tide Totem. He will play the Lightning Storm, which kind of distorted our video there a little bit, but we're okay. Alright, so he's got his opponent down to 3. He's going to play that Fire Elemental to clear it off and start inflicting more pain on his opponent, which this is now putting Kulthos in a bad spot. He is staring at some significantly dangerous damage here. And he's going to concede because he knows he just does not have the removal to deal with the threat. So that was a really fun game to watch. Really good exchange by both players. Day 9 played very well, and his opponent responded really well to a lot of those situations to try and maintain advantage. But there was just too many options coming out for Day 9, and that's one of the most powerful things of a Shaman deck is when it comes to the later game, you can get out more cards, more powerful cards, up front for less because of Overload. So you don't have to wait multiple turns to get out some of your stronger minions or play some of your stronger spells. But there you have it. That is going to do it for this game of Hearthstone. That's going to do it for today's episode as well. I will be back tomorrow with more Hearthstone action, so don't forget to subscribe for daily Hearthstone updates and daily Hearthstone videos. You can also find me on Facebook and on Twitter. The links are in the description below. And also a link to Day 9's stream. He mostly focuses on StarCraft, as you all probably know. But sometimes he plays Hearthstone. So give him some love there. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you fine folks next time.